I think there's been a lot of cost inflation in the railways, and the government with the McNulty report and implementing that are going to tackle a lot of that cost inflation. And I'd ask, do we really need Network Rail with 100 directors? Should a train driver really be paid sort of 45,000, 50,000?
Well, a week on from the official announcement of the fare rise, and there's mounting anger, not only from rail passengers, as you'd expect, but a growing number of MPs, and in particular, many Conservatives with small majorities. The average rise said to be 6.2%, that's inflation plus 3%. Now, it's based on the July inflation figure, which was much higher than expected, and that's why the fare rise will be so high. The message to government, they must do something about it to stop the huge increase.
It's time we had a fair deal, and £3,500 is simply far too much to expect someone to pay for a 30-mile season ticket.
The previous government introduced the RPI plus 3 for southeastern commuters only to pay for investment in southeastern railways. That has now been paid for. Don't think it's fair for the southeast to continue to pay above inflation.
They simply cannot afford yet another fare increase, another inflation-busting fare increase. I talked to somebody who's had to give up their job in London because they can no longer afford to get there.
Well, not all MPs, and in particular Conservatives, are against it. Henry Smith from Crawley, who we spoke to today, said there is so much investment going on, it was only fair that passengers paid their fair share. That's the view of the government. They, of course, said the rail fare rises. Theresa Villiers, the rail minister, justified why it would be so high when we spoke to her last week.
We recognise concerns about fare increases, but these are making a very important contribution to what is a massive programme of rail improvement across the country.
That then the view of the politicians, but what about the passengers? We caught up with people in Brighton earlier today.
I think when you hear about commuters spending thousands of pounds to get to work, I think that's ridiculous.
These people are intolerant. It only takes so much, innit? I mean, it costs an arm and a leg to go London.
Fare rises may well be justified, I think, if and only if there are commensurate improvements to go with it.
I'm told even the Transport Secretary, Justin Greening, is concerned at just how high it will be. There'll be enormous pressure on the Chancellor George Osborne in the coming weeks, and my guess is he may well be forced to act.